Hello all, welcome to another episode of LCF's Hangout. My name is Aditya and I'm joined today by Mathangi in hosting this week's podcast. Today we are privileged to be joined by Shriramkumar Sir and Amritha Murali ma'am. Thank you so much for taking part in our podcast.
Our pleasure.
To start off, you both, started your musical journeys at a very, very young age. But during that early stage of music, what kept you attracted to continue or pursue Carnatic music? For example, nowadays you'd have parents, encouraging kids to pursue this music. But did you have any different experiences?
Yeah. See, I grew up in a musical family, and music was part and parcel of our home. My grandfather was a great violinist, and so music was always there 24/7. And my parents also encouraged me to learn music. I had no other choice but to learn music. So, and I did. It's not that I was forced to learn music. I did it very happily also. But I did go to school. I did my mathematics, and I did go to college, and all of that happened. But for music to become my profession, I think it was not in my hands. Rather than me taking up the music, I think the music took me over. And I had the great fortune to learn from greatest of gurus and greatest of musicians, and to listen to doyens as I grew up. That was very important to my musical growth, and I was very fortunate with that.
In contrast to what Shriramana said, I don't come from a music family. But of course, both my grandmothers used to sing. I haven't seen one of them. But music was a part of our family in the sense that every child in the family was taught music, either to play the mridangam or to play the violin or to sing. So in that sense, I was also taught to sing and play the violin. I started little late by today's standards. I started only when I was about 9 or 10. But thankfully, I don't think my parents have ever had to force me to learn or practice or sing. Music became a passion for me, and it continues to be a passion. I think it will be always. So that has somehow, music, like he said, music takes you over at some point. So that's what happened to me. And I've also had the privilege of learning from some very great gurus. And right now I'm very fortunate to learn under Shriramana also. So it's been a wonderful journey. Of course, like he said, I also went to college. I did my master's in finance management. But somehow I think music was meant to be my calling. My parents didn't have to force me. It just happened. So
But I think it's very important that parents encourage children, and they make it a point to make children learn some kind of art. Because without art, life is not charming. That's my very strong opinion on that. Some kind of art, music, dance, painting, something.
Like a creative outlet.
Creative, yeah, definitely.
So both of you are vocalists and violinists, and very often you will hear for an instrumentalist, vocal is very important. It really does support. I'm interested to know how has learning violin supported your vocal performances?
I think there is this common misconception that I started singing. I'm a violinist turned vocalist. I think that's not true. It's actually not true. I did learn both in parallel. I still continue to learn both in parallel, but I've never switched over from one to the other. I was performing both as a vocalist and a violinist from the time I started performing, and it just so happens that last maybe couple of years or so, I've been performing only as a vocalist. It's not for any particular reason. It's just happened that way. So how does learning violin help singing? I have really not thought of both as like separate musical forms. For me, it was just music, but definitely when you hear a melody, maybe you translate it faster. And then I've had the fortune of accompanying some great artists. So I've learned a lot from that, hearing them sing, having to reproduce things on the spot. You're not given time to go home, practice, learn, and then you have to repeat whatever is being sung right then. Your creative instinct has to work. You a sense of you start to learn intuitively. You start to learn to follow what a person is singing at that very moment without analyzing it too much. I mean, I think that's a very important lesson that I have learned. So even till today, I think that has helped me in the sense that if I'm put on stage and I'm asked to sing anything, I will definitely sing something, whether it's right or wrong, completely right or wrong, I don't know. But then I can handle a situation at any given point of time, and that experience I think comes with the accompaniment.
Yeah, same here. I learned while playing, but I was taught to sing also parallelly. It happened. Singing and while playing were not separate. Whatever I had to play, I had to sing first. See, I've been groomed to play the violin as you sing. There are different thoughts on this. A few people say that the violin has other potentials and you have to tap into it. This is my personal preference, I would say. I would like to play the violin as I sing. And when I play the violin, it should be heard as if a person is singing. That interests me a lot. So I've always learned vocal music. The advantage of learning vocal music is you understand the bhava of the composition that you play with. When it comes to playing, you can emote better. The valinam, the malinam, or the light and shade that you play on the violin comes out better only if you sing in your mind. That's one thing. And the other thing is when you play in Neraval, especially for kritis like, say, Shri Subramanyaya Namaste or Ninne Naminano or Manasu Swathina, kritis like that, which have 4 avartram line in a slower kala pramana, playing male kala Neraval, unless you have Sahitya in mind, you will just end up playing swaras like. There will not be a marked difference between playing Kalpana Swara and playing Neraval on the violin MC. So that helps a lot. Actually, knowing the Sahitya and playing is very, very important. So I've always learned vocal music. And after my grandfather taught me vocal and violin playing. Then after that, and I have learned vocal music from Sri D.K. Jayaraman, then from Srimati D.K. Pattammal, Srimati MS Lakshmi, Sri Shamagureshnu, Sri KVN Mama, and all of them. And violin I learned from Sri VVS Subramaniam also. So even when VVS Sir taught me, he would sing and play and show, and he would make me sing also. So singing and violin playing are not mutually exclusive for me. They are part and parcel of one music.
I would like to add to that, even my guru, every time when even violin classes, I had to sing the song before I played, and then every single syllable of the Sahitya had to be heard when playing. So I think the advantage was that I had a strong vocal base. I learned any song only by the Sahitya first, along with the Sahitya and the Sangeeta came together. It was never a tune and a Sahitya added to it later. So I think that way both have helped and both seem to be one entity for me. And even my vocal gurus like Shri Jayaraman Sir, P.S. Swami Mama, Ramaravi Mami, they also knew that I was an instrumentalist, but that was never it was only music, vocal music, which was first taught. Even now, when I play, I think like a vocalist. So,
yeah. So I had a slightly more personal question from my side. So as a accompanist, you have to be prepared to play extempore. So if it's a rare kriti that you've maybe not heard before, so you need to have that quick thinking to recognize. So do you have any tips on how to develop those skills
Yeah,
for an accompanist specifically?
yeah, that's a very nice question. The first tip is you have to learn a lot of compositions. You have to learn a lot of varnams, a lot of kritis, and a lot of other compositions. And of course, you cannot learn all the kritis in Carnatic music. It's a very far-fetched task, and it's difficult for a violinist to know all different partantras. For example, Shemmagudi Mama and MS Amma will sing Vidulukum Brokeda as Vidulakum Brokeda, like that. Okay, whereas Pattammal and Jayaraman Sir and Brindama, all of them will sing Vidulakum Brokeda. So as a violinist, you have to know what partantra you're going to get on stage. Sometimes a few artists do plan their concerts and they will tell you in advance what they're going to sing. Then you can ask them for the recordings, or you can ask them what they're going to sing, and you can get to know the song. A few artists, they don't plan at all. So in that case, it becomes even more difficult. So you have to have a knowledge of different partantras. One. Then you have to have the sense of going along with the vocalist. That is very important. If you look at my guru Sri VVS Subramaniam's playing, when he played along with Srimati MS Subbulakshmi or Sri D.K. Jayaraman or KVN Swami, with MS Amma, you will hear the third voice. MS Subbulakshmi, Radha Vishwanathan, VV Subramaniam. That is, so there will not be any difference at all. So he'll go right along with them. It will be heard as a third voice. So, which means you have to have that sense of playing, and you have to sing in your mind, and you have to know where to play in the upper octave, where to play in the lower octave. So when the Sangadi is in Tarasthai, if you shift to playing in the lower octave, that's a very pleasant experience to it sounds very good. And most importantly, you have to have that sense of going along. You have to have that sense of belonging to the concert. You have to, first time you can hear the Sangadi, second, if you don't know the song, I'm saying, you can hear the Sangadi first time, and second time you can try to go along with it. So you have to have that intuitive and that reflex to easily adapt and play. That you have to develop.
Yeah, when I would like to add that Shriramana can sing and show you like 4 or 5 different partantras of the same song, like distinct different partantras. So, but it's amazing. But you give him like a song, he'll be able to tell you how this is how KVN Swami sings it. This is how Srimati MS Subbulakshmi sings it. This is how Vrindama sings it. Like, I don't know how that's possible. I'm talking on behalf of a generation which has not probably seen all these great musicians live. Some of them I have had the good fortune of hearing and seeing live, but not all of them. So the challenge is one step more. Like he says, the only way to do is you have to keep hearing music 24/7, and you have to be attentive. And if you are going to play for a certain artist, you have to have the intention to hear the artist's music, get familiar with the style or the kind of singing. Also have a rough idea as to what kind of pieces they usually sing or something like that. Make yourself familiar. And on stage, you need like 500% concentration. If you don't know the song, at least try to play along the second time. So you have to equip yourself to adapt at that moment.
So, sir, you have had, like you said, the great fortune to have interacted, to learn from, and to play with some of the greatest legends of Carnatic music. I'm sure you have some anecdotes or memories. Do you have any in mind that you would like to share with us?
There are many memories, so it's I don't know where to start and where to end. So that is one of my greatest blessings, Matanji. Like to play and to learn and to be associated with the greatest of musicians. I think Goddess Sharada was more than kind to me in that case. Yeah, I've learned, and all of them were very good teachers. That I would love to say here. They had different techniques of teaching. Shri DKJ, Pattammal, then MS Amma, Shrimangudi Mama, then KVN Mama, VVS Sir. All of them, see, they were all wonderful teachers, and they were very, very, when it comes to teaching and learning music, they were extremely strict about it. You cannot change sangatis. You have to sing 2 times. You cannot mess up with the composition. You cannot sing all and sundry sangatis or all and sundry compositions also. And in fact, MS Amma, she would make me play also along with her, as she taught me. I still remember she would give me a lot of tips when I played Ragam and when I played Kriti. When she taught me Vachama Gocharame Manasa, there's a line where she sings the Charadam, Manavati Madaringi Chamaramotaga Stramunayagani. And there's one line where she sings it like this. Dinarti bhan janudai prana danam botagi muno janina dinarti bhanja. So when I played along, first time I played the Dinarti bhanjano, because she pauses there. So she expected me to also pause there. So those kind of small, actually it might appear though these are all very, very small things. But in the concert, actually accentuates that listening pleasure. In a bhajan, actually she taught me a bhajan, a Surdas bhajan. And in that, she also made me play Tuma bina kona sahayi is in the Pallavi. After the Charanam, she sings Tuma bina kona sahayi. I conveniently played Tuma bina kona sa ma pa ni sa. So I was playing that. Actually, if you hear, you'll not know the difference. It will just pass as you hear it. But she stopped me and made me play it 4 or 5 times, and until I understood that it was Tuma bina kona sahayi. So what I'm trying to say is, so all of them were so meticulous in their teaching ways and how they respected compositions, how they beautifully rendered all those colossal compositions. Yeah. Today, I think we take a lot of things for granted when we sing compositions. I don't think that should happen.
The question to both of you: how do you think music has evolved for the better?
I can only talk for what we hear today. I don't think we could have, whatever we sing today is what the great masters have given to us. It might not be exactly the same, but definitely without their contribution, I don't think anybody would be singing today. And the fact that we have so much music available to us, if not for all that, I don't think we would be listening to Carnatic music in all its glory. Like he said, he just mentioned about the discipline in singing kritis. I think that is something that our generation needs to hold on to, and the generations that come after us need to hold on to, because that's where I think we become a little lackadaisical, because we have so many avenues to express ourselves. We think we're being very creative. We think we want to do something out of the box, which is very fine. But I think our creativity has to be within the gamut of not changing the structure of a kriti, not changing the intent of the composer. We have so many avenues to express our creativity. As far as Manodharma is concerned, we have Alapana, Kalpanaswara, Neraval, Tanam, Shlokams, Viritams. I somehow find that in our generation we have a tendency to look beyond this and also try to carry that over into the compositions. And also the desire to learn many compositions, I think, has to stay on, because otherwise we lose some really beautiful pieces. Sometimes, I can talk to what we hear when we sing some really beautiful compositions which are not heard that often. We're often named as being very archaic or whatever. But I think that is very, very important, because if we don't sing them, all of that will be lost. We have such a huge treasure, huge composition strength in our music, and I think that should not be lost for expressing ourselves creatively. That can be an aspect that's always there. There's no loss of creativity as in Manu Dharma. I think we should also give some importance to the composition part of our music.
Yeah, definitely. Music has everything will undergo change. Change is an inevitable part of life.
In terms of change, I think the demands of today are very, very high. Performers are made to do so many different things, in the sense the concepts, there are so many concepts that we have to cater to. Every third concert is something different. We have to do, the way we present it has to be different. So I think when we do that, that definitely requires a lot of creativity. When we do all that, we should also keep in mind, like you said, the integrity of the art form. And if we can do that, then that's wonderful, because people have so many ideas these days. If we can translate them, keeping all these factors in mind, then.
So like I said earlier, one special aspect of today's episode is that we have both Guru and Shishya. And it's very rare to get the opportunity to see both Guru and Shishya on stage, where the Guru supports the student. And not everyone is so lucky, I guess. So how has this experience been for both of you? Because I'm sure it's different experiences from both sides.
I think I should go first on this. Yeah, it's a good experience. Playing for my student Amritha. This is not the typical Guru-Shishya. Like, I've also learned a lot of things from her, a lot of songs from her. So in a way, she is also my guru. And so on stage, yes. No. On stage, yeah, I do play for her, and I keep in mind the role of a violinist. I try to not overdo my role there. I think I have been successful. She will shortly tell you. And so when it comes to a concert, she is the vocalist and I am the violinist. This is not any hard and fast rule, but in general, it is if the vocalist sings for, say, a 10 minutes ragam, I don't go there and play 25 minutes of ragam. No. It's nice to play an 8-minute ragam as a response to a 10-minute ragam. In general, I do keep in mind that, yeah, she sings well, and I enjoy playing for her. Please, and I'm waiting for the reports. For the reports.
Well, I think it's been one of my biggest blessings to have my Guru sit beside me on stage. I cannot say it's strong to say that he's accompanying me on stage. I have learned so much in the process. I think every time he plays for me, I do learn some very precious things, which might not be obvious to the listener, of course. And I think it has really helped me evolve as an artist, evolve as a performer. But one thing sometimes I feel like there's always the feeling that I'm curtailing his freedom. Sometimes I feel like, oh, this is really, maybe I should be giving him the center stage. There are those moments when you feel like maybe you're not doing enough. But I hope there will be a day when that space is available. I don't know if he gets that space in my concerts. That's for him to tell. But I hope there will be a day when I'm able to give him that space where. But it's a joy. It's like when he mentioned about his guru playing for Srimati MS Lakshmi, where he sounds like the third voice. I really feel like somebody singing along with me when I'm singing, when he plays. Whether it's Neraval or Swaram or Ragam or I pick up from his ideas. There is always something that which triggers my creativity. So that's why there's a lot of exchange of ideas, and it's a complete joy. And I think I'm very fortunate that way. Even replies, like he said, if you played a ragam, I would sometimes sing a ragam for 15 minutes, and then he would play for 4 minutes. But it would seem like what I just sang was just, what did I do for 15 minutes? It's like there was so much life and soul in that 4 minutes, which I hope to, I aspire to be able to bring in at some point. So even with any kind of thing, any pallavi, there would be like, there are these pallavis which would give me on the spot. I remember in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, I don't remember the exact pallavi now. It was a composition of Sri Papanasham Shivan's and Sri G.N.B. Sir's compositions. So till we got on stage, we not decided the pallavi. So and then just before I had to start the Ragam Taram pallavi, Sri Arun Prakash Sir asked me, "Inna pallavi paada pora?" I said, "I don't know, Anna." And then he just told me that first half Andulika vachko, second half Kararapiya vachko, something like that. He just like murmured to me, and then that's it. So, but that's again a challenge. Those challenges I've really enjoyed. But the fact that you can ask him anything, like I feel a sense of, I think it's there for many artists, a sense of there is nothing that can go wrong. Even if anything can be covered up, your mistakes are covered up, your good things are enhanced. So I think it's a joy, and I don't have enough words to express myself, but it's definitely a very big blessing.
I only hope I live up to all this.
Very nice. Actually, not many people, many gurus would have the, I don't think mental frame to actually sit and play for their shishyas. And I think he's very large-hearted in every way. And this is definitely one example of that.
Amazing.
So like you said, so you mentioned sharing ideas. So when I've come to see your concerts, one thing I do see is you share ideas without speaking. Like just through your looks, you seem to be communicating. So I'm sure there's some funny incidents where perhaps you've forgotten a sangati or something like that. Has anything happened on stage?
Definitely. I have forgotten sangatis many times. He sung along. I think there have been, if you maybe listen to the line in recording, you can hear him singing lines along. I think it's happened. And the looks are also like, when you have made a mistake. I think there are times when you purposely ignore him because there is going to be that look from that side.
I got all the stares from her when I played.
Never. I mean, those are very special. But he's a man who actually, I don't think ever gets angry. I don't think he's ever gotten angry with his students. It's always been concern. And so that just a few minutes when he looks at you like that, you know your mistake and you corrected it then and then. I mean, and that's very nice. So when you cut out of the stage, nobody needs to come and tell you this is where you went wrong. It's just like you look at him, So your good points also, and that's very nice.
Yeah, that's very important because I've had this experience in MS Amma. Like once I played Kalyani Ragam and played an excessive gamaka of the Rishabha, something like I played some excessive She'll just look at me like this on stage. She wouldn't be. Nobody will know, or she will not never let down anybody on. She will not be nasty or nothing. She just looked at me like very kindly on stage like this. Then I knew something was coming. After the kacheri, she told me very beautifully. That is, these are all learning lessons. எவ்வளோ அசைக்காத ரிஷபத்தை ரெண்டுத்துக்கு மேல அசைக்காத அந்த அப்படின்னா அது சங்கராபரணமா கேட்கும் அது. So yeah, it's very true. கல்யாணி இவ்வளோ போகணும். So as an youngster, and I was in my 20s when I played for her, you don't know what you're playing. It's not like you match up to MS Subbulakshmi's music. Never. That has never happened. But these small tips that with that look, she told me everything. KVN Mama, when he used to sing something like Krishna ne begane maro, Vadagala, the Papa, and the Krishna ni begane maro. That Shuddha Madhyamam has to be in place. இல்ல அப்படி கீழே வாசி இல்ல மேல வாசி இல்ல கண்ணாலேயே சொல்லும். பிருந்தாமாவும் அப்படிதான். அந்த பார்வையிலேயே தெரிஞ்சிடும். Something has gone wrong. உடனே you have to correct yourself right there. Yeah, it's all other experience from all of them on stage.
I would like to add that I've had the good fortune of playing violin for him also, for Shriramana, when he's sung and he's done lecture demonstrations. Actually, like when we play along, he'll just look at you, and if he just does that with his head, I know I have to play in the Mandira Sthai. When I'm playing in the Mandira Sthai, when he doesn't want me to play there any longer, he'll just say that means I have to go back to where. Then if I'm doing something for the longest, like if I'm playing in the Mandira Sthai for the longest time, he just look at me and it's like, how long? Like, that I know when he turns around, I know, okay, play normally. Or when there has to be more power, or there has to be more volume, or it has to tone down. Everything, just that look will tell you. And if you are very sensitive to all that, I think I've learned actually also how good accompaniment from that. I mean, it's nobody will know actually what he would try to convey. Just that look, if you know him well, that I guess you'll learn from him.
So from a Rasika's point of view, it's very, I think, easy for us to recognize if the musician on stage is either a student of or has been mentored by Shriram Sir. There seems to be a clear stamp. I don't know if it's the choice of the rare kriti, but more often it's a presentation. The word I can think of is pure devotion. So I have a two-part question. The first part is, during your teaching, when you're teaching these kritis, how is it that you convey this level of devotion to your students? And my second question would be, what does the word divine mean to you in the sense of music?
It's a very, very profound question, Matingi. Yeah, see, again, it goes back to my upbringing. My grandfather and my whole family, we're all very God-fearing people and very religious people and very spiritual people. My grandfather was extremely religious and extremely spiritual. And for him, music was just not entertainment. Yeah, he definitely practiced it. It was his profession, and is music only your profession is the bigger question. So time and again, he has like infused into me the importance of bhakti in Carnatic music. What is bhakti in Carnatic music? Again, a big question to be. Yeah, you need to believe in the religion, or is that bhakti, or belief in just in the music, is that bhakti? These are all a lot of questions. Yeah, for me, everything is bhakti. For me, I believe in the content of the composition. When Tyagaraja bleeds out in his composition, or when Shyama Shastri emotes in his composition, or when Dikshitar brings in a profound Vedantic words in a composition, that is bhakti form. I relate to when, for example, Karnula Sevinchi Kammani Phala Mulano Sagi Tanuvu Pulakarincha Vadam. That line, you have to put yourself in Shabari's. Only then I think you can emote well. I've been taught like I've been groomed up like that, and I have heard musicians, especially MS Amma and especially Pattammal, Jayaraman, all of them, they enjoyed the composition, they believed in the composition, they believed in the emotion of the composition, in the emotion of that Sahitya. So that is very important to me. And definitely you have to have bhakti to Carnatic, to the music. Without integrity and that respect and that bhakti to music, nothing can be done. Everything will go waste if you don't have that. Devotion is it's an integral part of my thought process. And when I teach music, I definitely want to impart the importance of devotion. And Sahitya, again, Sahitya and Sangeeta cannot be separated, in my opinion. Sahitya is as equally important as Sangeeta is. And Sangeeta and Sahitya go hand in hand. So the beauty of Sahitya has also to be you have to enjoy the beauty of the Sahitya, because you have to enjoy the beauty of language. Any language is charming. Any dialect of any language, any strain of any language is charming. And we have to respect all that. You have to have a working knowledge, at least a working knowledge of language when you sing all these compositions. That is one thing you learn from Srimati MS Lakshmi. Be it any language, you will see how beautifully she renders with so much integrity to that language. Of course, she was not a Bengali speaking person. She did not know to speak Bengali. She did not know to speak Marathi, or she did not know to speak Urdu. She knew to speak Tamil. But Sanskritam she sang so naturally. Kannada she sang so beautifully. Telugu she sang so beautifully. Tamil, obviously she sang very nicely. But Bengali, Marathi, Urdu, Gujarati, all of that, she sang so beautifully. Which means she took the effort to learn each song with the beauty of the language and the music. That's very important.
I think as for somebody who has learned under Shriramana, all of what he just mentioned, there has never been a situation where he's imposed anything on any of his students. That's something that I would like to say at this point, because he just leads by example, and it's for us to take or leave. When he teaches us a composition or when he sings a raga, I would think music, when he teaches us, it's not just about the composition. Of course, about the composition, he does tell us the meaning behind the composition, the bhava which is associated with the composition. Definitely all that is explained, and while teaching, how does one bring out that bhava by singing a particular line. And starting from, I know I have seen instances when he's taught us how the voice should be given at a certain point in a composition to suit the bhava or to suit the emotion. So, and it's not that devotion doesn't extend to just compositions. Even while singing Manodharma, even if he sang 3 lines of Bhairavi or 3 phrases of Bhairavi, it can move us. That is the I would say that is the devotion in his music that he has, which is translated, which is conveyed to us, and it's for us to take or leave. And I think that cannot be taught to anybody. That aspect or that bhava cannot be taught to a person. It has to be felt, experienced, and then sung. So that way, I think he leads by example. And though he, like he said, their family background or his thoughts and beliefs, there has never been a case where he'll probably tell his students, you need to have some devotion in life. And I also frankly believe in that. It need not bhakti in the sense there has to be some supreme force that you believe in, some, because definitely nobody is greater than creation. Nobody is greater than art. There is some force which actually drives us, and I think we all need to believe that force. That force drives our music. And if he sang 2 lines, I don't think there has been even one instance when he sang Varagalamo without crying. I don't think you ever finished that song without him being all of us in that room being in tears. Never have we gone through that composition without breaking down. I think that is the power of music. It's not just, oh, is it this composition? Is it this raga? It can be anything. There, even if he sang 2 lines of Naravan and Shankarabharanam, even if he tried for the next 10 days, that emotion would not, because it's coming from within. And that's something that either you believe in, or either you have or you don't have, or you. And as far as divinity, I think there is divinity in everything if we choose to see it. So,
I have tingles, right? So this leads on to my final question, I think. So you have tuned your own compositions and you put so much emphasis onto Sangatis and the Sahitya. So what has been your source of inspiration when you're tuning and choosing the raga, choosing the Sangati and linking it to the meaning of the song?
I'll go first on this. Because I've seen him tuning compositions. He'll usually, if you give him a Sahitya, if let's say he opens a book and then he'll just say Jagadamba and then just sing a tune. That's how he tunes usually. And he doesn't remember his tunes. That's another very big problem. He'll just sing the tune. We have to record then, or we have to be smart enough to remember it. That's the tuning process. Sometimes it's unbelievably, uncannily. I mean, I don't know how he picks the ragas or the swaraksharas that go in. It's definitely not labored. It's not contrived. It's not like he sits and thinks, okay, here there is a pa and there is a ma. Let me make the tune work. Like never. Even when he sings shlokams, I don't know. We all be singing. We would have sung the slokams 100 times. First time he sings, the Sahitya will fall on that. I think it's some God-given gifts. Even when he makes his own compositions, it's like that. And definitely, like he said, he knows so many languages. I think so that the Sahitya, and he understands the import of the Sahitya, even when he reads it once. And I think that makes it, it makes it easier for him to probably think of an apt tune for that particular line or particular verse. So that's my take on. I think it's just God. Really, I'm no exaggeration on this. Anybody who has seen him tune, this is how it happens. It's usually playing book cricket. He'll open the book and say, okay, what do you want? Okay. You just look at it for like maybe 30 seconds and then you say, okay, Jagadamba. And then you start singing. That's it. That's how it works.
The thing is, as I said, Sahitya, you have to enjoy Sahitya. When you tune a composition, you have to see some stotras or some of, if you look at Tiruppugal or something, they'll all be sometimes in a meter. For example, Sharada Bhujangam, if you take that, the Bhujanga meter, so Vaksho, Jakumma, Sudha, like that. So it is, you have to understand that meter. You can't sing it in any other way. So Vaksho Jakumbham Sudha Purna Kumbham Prasada. This is the Bhujanga meter. So if you so with such, there are different meters in Sanskrit. I mean, different chandangal in Tiruppugal and things like that. So if you have to look at what meter is that verse is in, or try to maintain that meter. If it is a shloka or something like that. Otherwise, you have to look at the mode of the composition, what the meaning conveys, how it goes. Yeah, and kind of choose. As I said, you have to put yourself in that situation. For example, I did music for a few dance productions that happened in Cleveland. Kishore Masalakanti, he was the dancer, and he sat with me and told me what the situation is in the dance, because he has to emote with that. So there is a scene where Kunti comes and claims Karna. Obviously, it has to be a very painful moment, right? It cannot be in Atana. It cannot go well. It won't go well. So you have to understand the situation. You have to understand the mood of the composition and try to match it. That's all. And ultimately, for the tune to come out well, it It's all in her hands, not in my hands.
I think, like Akka said, you are a wealth of knowledge, and Akka, you're so lucky to have a mentor like Shriram Sir, and I guess we are lucky to have the chance to interact with you, and also to attend so many of your, to be in a lifetime where we can, attend your legdems as well, because I know you have done many legdems. I actually attended yours on Yadukula Kamboji at the Music Academy. So often legdems tend to be about the music theory, or they tend to be about the history of music. But your legdems tend to be a bridge between the two, often linking the history of a composer and then also linking it to their compositions and the music behind it. So I guess what I would like to hear from both of you is the importance of knowing this for a student. Why is it so important to learn about that?
Yeah, see, there's so much in that. If, for example, if you take the Kamalamba Navavarana Kritis of Muthuswami Dikshita, it is a magnum opus of Sahitya. It is a magnum opus of Sangeeta. Okay, and you have to enjoy both together. You have to enjoy the Shankarabharanam along with the Sahitya in that song. Okay, and the thing is how on one side there are so many details in that composition. There are so many esoteric concepts. It has a huge fund of information on the worship of the goddess. Okay, and that is a whole lot. That's a separate tradition by itself. The musical tradition is separate by itself, and Dikshita brings in both together. And we are fortunate because we can enjoy both together. That is why we must be grateful to the Trinity, because on one side they bring in the beauty of Sahitya, the beauty of Purana, or beauty of Kavya, or beauty of everything, beauty of history, beauty of faith, of belief. If Tyagaraja believed in drama, it was his life. He believed completely in drama. We must kind of grasp that emotion of faith in a supreme. Okay, that along with music, the way he treats Todi in very many different compositions, it's amazing. How can you think of a Chintamani? So when the Tanjavur court was actually they were challenged by Mobili Keshavaya, Shyama Shastri composes this composition, and actually in the second charanam, that's not normally sung. He says, Repu Mapanicha, if you say, I'll protect you tomorrow, I will not take that. You have to protect me today because I have a crisis today. So we must kind of like experience both together, and I think that's very important.
As for someone who's grown up hearing lecture demonstrations, I think from the time I was 14, 15, I've been hearing many lecture demonstrations. For me, it was really an eye-opener when I started hearing Shriramana's lectures. Because like you said, I mean, either it's completely into music or history, there is never that bridge. And I think as artists, we do need to know what is there in our music entirely. Maybe, definitely we cannot learn everything in life, but there is so much content to offer, and the treasure trove of compositions that we have, there has to be some intent behind it. Somebody wouldn't have written compositions without intent. And like he says, like something like a Kamalamba Avaranam, or the way Tyagaraja has composed so many compositions, or like Shyama Shastri's kritis, if somebody could actually tell us what went into, or we don't know, we've not seen it, but at least some bit of insight into the composition, why it could have been composed the way it is. What is the intent of the Sahitya? What does it convey to us? Because otherwise, someone who everybody does not know every language, and it's impossible to learn all languages. Like maximum, like he said, maybe have a working knowledge of it. So if there is a Kamalamba Varnam, it's not just what is given in the books. We cannot just, okay, this book says this line Kamalamba Samrakshatu means this. It's not just that. There is so much more into it. And how are we going to learn it? Only if somebody actually comes and tells us. If the choice of ragas, for instance, Sri Vishwanatham Bhajeham, if you have heard his lecture demonstration, the choice of ragas, how did Dikshitar think of something like that? How the choice of raga and the sequence of the Sahitya go together, and the melody, how the melodic structure goes with the Sahitya. And it's sometimes it just definitely gives you goosebumps if you experience it. And for somebody to actually be able to point it out in different ways, like even let's say so compositions of Bharatiya, compositions of any composer for that matter of fact, there is so much content in it, and if we don't look deep into it, we might just lose it, or nobody will ever know. We'll just be singing the melody like any other composition. There's so much content that he actually doesn't tell us. I don't know when that is going to come out. Every lecture, he'll sit and he'll say he's not prepared, and he'll write like pages, and all that is stacked in a file, none of which we've all heard, because he doesn't even open it during the lecture. So he just speaks what comes to him, and it's invariably not even what he seems to have prepared for the lecture demonstration. So we've all been trying to tell him to write a book or something like that.
There's a long way to go, and so much more to learn. That's a never-ending process.
Thank you so much for, some of the answers were so insightful. So, rapid fire questions. It's just a bit of a fun segment. So, RK sir, I guess if you answer first.
What is your favorite ragam at present?
The all-time favorite is Shankararam.
Sahana.
Most memorable concert?
Too many to single out.
The first concert I sang at the Music Academy, 22nd December 2004. Yeah.
What is something most people do easily, but you find very difficult?
Technology also.
I don't know. If I have to have an interaction with them, there are too many people, I get very overwhelmed. But that should not be the case, considering I'm an artist. But I'm okay performing, but otherwise I have to interact with them. It's just little. I'm better now, but in general, it's because I'm a little introverted by nature. So.
One memory of a foreign tour that you look back on fondly?
All my foreign tours have been really enjoyable. Really.
Or say my first trip to Cleveland, 2007.
What event in your life would make a good movie?
Nice question.
Can I answer it?
Oh.
I think one day in his house with his students, just one can take a movie of the different emotions and the different and the drama that goes into all the students, because generally no students likes to leave after their class. That is what happens there. Everybody stays on. We all try to stay into other people's classes, and then generally end up spending the day there. So I think the drama that goes in is just very entertaining. Really, you can. For me, I think generally I'm a very spatially unaware person. I'm extremely clumsy. Maybe we just spend half an hour when I'm at my excited best. I think that would make a good movie.
One place in India you haven't visited that you'd like to visit?
I've not been to Kashi. I'd love to go to Kashi.
The Himalayas.
What is the most important object you own?
My faith.
Wow.
My instruments and conviction, I guess. My music is the biggest thing that I own.
Teaching or learning?
Learning.
Learning, of course.
If you wanted to give a tourist a local flavor, of Chennai, what would you ask them to do?
There are good eateries, I guess. So I've heard that Karpagambadan is this Badam Alva is very good. So and Vadapu Vada is very good. So I recommend. And of course with coffee, even though I don't drink coffee. And definitely visit to Kapaleshwara temple. Definitely, definitely a visit to Nalli or Sundari, and definitely a visit to Kalakshetra, and listen to concert in Music Academy main hall, and to also see Dakshin Chitra. That's a wonderful place. And
so that's not fair.
To walk along the beach in Marina, and
I'm a person who constantly goes back to the same old eateries, much to the annoyance of my friends. If they ask me to pick a place, I constantly go back to the same one. But then there are some places that I like Cream Center, Anna Lakshmi, Little Italy, Bombay Brasserie, and definitely Karpagamba Mess.
One instrument you've always wanted to learn?
Other than what we do usually, Mridangam.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mridangam.
Actually, I tried learning the Ghatam from my friend N. Guruprasad. But I think I didn't succeed beyond the first lesson because I didn't go back for I can play that first lesson properly.
No, he said thank you.
If you could add 4 more hours to your day, what would you spend those 4 hours doing?
Music.
I mean, I really need those 4 hours to sing right now and work on my music and sleep a little. I need some sleep too.
Dosai or idli? Just
Dosai, always.
Oshada.
I'm not a very big fan of idli, but now I'm no choice but to.
Idli with mulaga podi spread is very ideal for flights.
Yeah.
For me, dosai.
Otherwise, dosai.
Your all-time favorite varnam?
Viriboni.
For me, Todi Varnam also. Yera Napai and Viriboni.
What's one thing that everyone should experience at least once in their life?
Too many things, Matingi. Shall I list them?
I think everybody should experience some form of art at least once in their life. It can be music, dance, sketching, painting, theatre, anything. But they have to experience it at least. Good art.
I think everybody should experience goodness in whatever they see around them. Beauty and goodness. It can be a tree, it can be a flower, it can be music, it can be life, it can be anything. It can be a talk, it can be a game, anything. You must experience goodness about it. You must experience beauty about it.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of this segment. So very nice, thought-provoking answers, I think. Is the Unplugged. So here we would kindly like to request you both to maybe sing us a song or maybe a slogam or anything of your preference that you would like to share.
You want to play something?
Play or sing, whatever's easy.
Sing. Ayiram paravivanor yetum pemmanai Ayiram paravivanor yetum pemmanai Pirvila adiyarku என்றும் வாராத செல்வம் வருவிப்பானை பரவிவானோர் ஏத்தும் பெம்மானே பிரிவிலகடியார்க்கு என்றும் வாராத செல்வம் வருவிப்பானை பிரிவிலா அடியார்க்கு என்றும் வாராத செல்வம் வருவிப்பானை மந்திரமும் தந்திரமும் மருந்துமாகி தீரானோய் தீர்த்தருளவல்லான் தன்னை 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 திரிபுரங்கள் தீயெழுத்தின் சிலகை கொண்ட போரானை புள்ளுருக்கு வேளூரானே புள்ளுருக்கு வேளூரானே போற்றாதே ஆற்ற நாள் போக்கினேனே திரிபுரங்கள் தீயெழுத்தின் சிலகை கொண்ட போரானே புள்ளிருக்கு வேளூரானே போற்றாதே ஆற்ற நாள் போக்கினேனே புள்ளிருக்கு வேளூரானே போற்றாதே ஆற்ற நாள் போக்கினேனே
Thank you, sir. Like Aditya said, when we listen back, knowing the meaning is going to make us listening to it even sweeter. So thank you.
பச்சை மாமலை போல் மேனி பவளவாய் கமலச் செங்கண் பச்சை மாமலை போல் மேனி பவளவாய் கமலச் செங்கண் அச்சுதா மரர் ஏரே ஆயர்த்தம் கொழுதேயனும் அச்சுதா மரர் ஏரே ஆயர்த்தம் இச்சுவை தவிர யான் போயிந்திரலோகமாளும் இச்சுவை
Thank you. It's been so nice to hear from both of you.
So yeah, that was our final segment, I think, for the call. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. It's been great pleasure for us to listen to all the knowledge you've shared on the podcast today.
Thank you, Matangi and Aditya. Really enjoy, and you really brightened up the day for us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us over on this podcast. It was a real pleasure talking to both of you.
Thank you. And perhaps to wrap up, if you have some words of advice for students, especially in this country and maybe our viewers as well. So one question we got asked is sometimes students feel a lack of motivation when they don't have a concert or something to prepare for, especially during this time. So maybe some words of advice for students who feel that lack of motivation.
Yeah, I know that's a very nice question actually. Yeah, and students and all of us should motivate ourselves by listening to great music, listening to good music, keep practicing at home, and let us all pray that all of this gets well soon. We have to keep our positive spirits up at all times.
Yeah, stay positive. I think motivation always sometimes comes from within also. So we need to, I think if we are positive, I think we can do something, I think we can do it. And musically, the more music you hear, I think you are motivated. So I have always believed in listening to a lot of music. I think that will keep us, listening to some good music will keep us motivated always. To work harder and to do better. And let's hope everything settles down soon and the world is back to being a safe place.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Both of you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.